tournaments, but they've only won one in the last 4 competitions now, the gold in 2011. Today they look to start the recovery after a disappointing 5th place finish last time out in 2013. Singapore make their 17th appearance in the competition, but their first since 2001. Analyst Paulo Kennedy alongside me, Tim Long. What can we expect from this contest here today?
Well, Tim, I'm sure last night when the Singapore team went to sleep, they drifted off and dreamed about an upset over China. And I'm sure earlier today, when the Palestinians beat the Philippines, I'm sure they had a little daydream, maybe they could do something similar. But history is against them. They've played against China 4 times in this competition. They've lost all 4 by an average of 50 points. So it is going to take a remarkable margin. As you said earlier, though, they have been away from this competition for 14 years. And with a rebirth comes new hope, and maybe today they can pull off a miracle. However, I think the big thing for Singapore today is preparing as much for their next 2 games and playing good basketball so that if they do come up against an opponent like Korea or Jordan, or tonight with China, then maybe they can find that upset. And here we see the formidable Chinese lineup being introduced. There's obviously the favourite of this home crowd. One of the favourites wherever he goes in China. And, it's amazing to think that he's only 27 years old. He made his debut in the 2004 Olympics as a 16-year-old, and he's gone on to become one of the absolute pillars of Asian basketball.
The 2 nations introduced to the fans in Changsha. And before we can get this one underway, we will pause for the national anthems, starting with the hosts, China.
Please remain standing for the national anthem of People's Republic of China.
Singapore back in action at the FIBA Asia Championship today, having missed the last 6 tournaments in a row, and they could hardly have picked a sterner test. The competition hosts China, the most successful basketball nation in the history of this continent, on the hunt for their 16th gold medal. Alongside me, our expert analyst Paulo Kennedy will take you through the key players on display for both nations here on the opening day.
The key player for Singapore, without doubt, is Wong Wei Long. He's an aggressive shooting guard, a great playmaker. Now, how he plays, so ride the fortunes of Singapore. And earlier this year, he had an outstanding FIBA games where he averaged 12 points per game, 4 assists per game. And Singapore had a strong showing coming in 3rd. But then fast track a couple of months at the Southeast Asian Games, and he struggled. 7 points, 32% from the field, and the team struggled. And at the end of that game, in fact, Coach Neo offered to resign. So disappointed was he with the team's performance. But perhaps, it was much about, was Wong getting the right shots? Was he scouted very well? What was the difference? And so tonight, the key for them is getting him some good looks early, and if the defense is focusing on him, his teammates need to get good positions to feed off him. Probably the other key player, as we look at the referees for tonight's game, the other key player for Singapore is Desmond O, who's perhaps their only true big man, along with Go Delvin. Go Delvin, at the FIBA Asia Cup last year, 6 points, 8 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks. And because they're a small team, his rim protection and his rebounding is going to be very important. When we look across to China, and we look at, we're looking at the Singapore roster there, and it's an undersized roster. We talked about Delvin Go, 202 centimetres. No other player above 200 centimetres on that lineup. Whereas if you look at China, it's the land of the giants. And the Singapore starting five, you can see there, Wong Wei Long, the key player for me. But also, Han Bin, he's a little bit of an undervalued player. He's an energy guy. He plays tall. He's only about 194 centimetres, but he plays taller than that. He can be athletic and get on the board. So he's going to be an important player for them too, especially as the tournament goes on. And there we look at China, and as I said, the land of the giants. 4 players over 213 centimetres, led by Yi Jin Lim, of course, who we've talked about. Fascinating one. Point guard Liu Wei comes back into the lineup, the 35-year-old. He's been away from the team since the 2012 Olympics, and we see that he's not in the starting five, but they've brought him back in for that experience that they need. They need someone who can get good shots, particularly with the defense trying to deny him the ball. So a really important role for Liu Wei tonight.
The 2 sets of players have been introduced. We've gone through the rosters, and the starting fives. The only thing left to do is get this one underway and expect a really good atmosphere here in Chongsha with the home nation in action for the first time. We've had the dispute between us out here between the different systems of measurement. 4 7-footers sounds more impressive, doesn't it?
Sounds much more impressive to me. But we'll just call it the land of the giants. And I think in terms, you mentioned that China is a giant of Asian basketball. In the history of this tournament, they've won 92% of their games. They've won 145 and lost 13. That's an extraordinary record. And it will take something special from Singapore tonight to put a dent in that.
Can they find a way over the Great Wall? That's the big question.
For those who haven't tuned in to watch China for a little while, they may notice some players have gone. Wang Zhizhi, Sun Yue, Zhu Fengyu, Wang Xipeng and Yi Li, some of the mainstays of that team over a number of years have moved on. You now have Yi Jinbin and Liu Wei as the rocks, and perhaps Zhou Peng as well. But a lot of younger players coming through, looking for that next generation of Chinese success.
We're already in China for the second game in Group C on the opening day at the 2015 FIBA Asia Championship. Myself, Tim Long, alongside analyst Paulo Kennedy, ready to talk you through the action here in Chongsha. The 15-time Asian champions looking to start with a bang in front of their home fans, taking on Singapore, back in action in the competition for the first time in 14 years. They simply have nothing to lose. The weight of expectation firmly on the shoulders of the host nation here this evening. They look to score the first points of this one, China. Cho Wei waiting for some movement ahead of him. Comes here from Cho Chi, and there's a foul.
And we see Singapore straight into man-to-man defence, and Lim Sheng Yu with the difficult task of guarding Yi. And he's giving up a lot of centimetres there and even a lot of inches as well. Let's see how he goes.
Most people have been giving him a lot of feet. Put it up from downtown. No good, so a chance for Singapore to take the lead right at the start of this one. Han Bin moves it back to Wong, who moves it across. Here's Go. Waiting for some some movement. It comes in the form of Wong, who drives towards the basket. Can't get it to go high off the glass. China will charge forward now. Pace, and there's a foul. As Cho Shi-wei races forward.
The shot didn't drop, but that was an excellent start for Singapore. Really good execution. They got Wong a good look at the basket. They can keep doing that. He's probably going to make a few of those shots.
Second foul on Melvin Go straight away.
And that's a concern for Singapore. As I said, their only real inside threat, their best rebounder. They need him just to be disciplined.
Jing inbounds the ball, moved on now to Cho Peng. To go to the baseline, offensive foul against Ding. Ding Yang Yuan, the 22-year-old, makes the turnover. Wong Wei Long to bottom row, moves it on to Desmond Doe. Goes to the far side now. Still waiting for the first score. Played more than a minute. Singapore trying to get it now. They can't bank it in. They can't grab the offensive rebound either.
Once again, the shot didn't drop, but what a sweet move from them.
Cho Shi-wei dishes it off. They try and move it into the centre. Singapore blocking off the passing lanes and then trying to get over half court. There's a foul.
Perhaps a nervous start from the hosts here. You can see there's a real focus on them trying to execute their sets, trying to be disciplined even though they're against an undersized opponent. At the moment, there's plenty of hustle on defense from the Singaporeans and it's paying dividends.
2 fouls apiece after just around 80 seconds. Put it away here for China. Cho Shi-wei will try and come away with it, but recovered by Wong Wei Long. Singapore finally gets something on the scoreboard here, knocked away now to bounce and a turnover. It's approaching the 2-minute mark in this first quarter. 2 minutes gone, still we haven't got a score. Cho Shi-wei is 20 years of age. Moved on to Cho Peng. Around the foul line, they're going to put it up. Still can't get going. Offensive ball though from the big man who tries to force it in, grabs his own rebound, and they still can't finish. Another fourth opportunity here, and they will get a chance to get the first points of this game from the line with Cho Peng.
You see a strong drive there from Cho Peng, and he's really grown into a man. You look at the size of his shoulders. He's a powerful athlete. He's no longer the promising youngster. You see that tough drive, and a piece of that from the Singapore defense. If you look at the defensive matchups, and the fact that they have Joe Chi out there, who is 218 centimeters, and it's forced Delvin Go to take him, and it allows a much more favourable matchup for you.
You finally have our first point, 2 minutes and 3 seconds in. 3 rebounds early on for Yi. 2 points from the foul line for Cho Peng. Let's see if Singapore can get on the board here with Boon Han Bin. They drive towards the baseline, goes to the far corner. Try and get back inside. Awkward dribble. Able to save it, but straight into Chinese hands, and then a foul.
Lim Xinyu, a nice move to the middle of the defense. Just couldn't keep the handle, but given how overmatched they are, I've been pretty impressed by Singapore early. They've certainly had some direction in the way they're going about it.
Shi-wei onto Cho Peng. Cho Peng closely guarded into the corner. Turns it to Cho Shi-wei. Towards the paint now. Slides the challenge. Looks down at his opponent. Steps up and makes the shot. Cho Chi. Those members of that great wall, the walking wall of China.
It's a great wall with very long arms when he's involved.
19 years of age. Wong Wei Long to drive down the heart of the defense and get Singapore going.
And that's what all the fuss is about. He's quick, he's dangerous, and he can finish it in amongst the tall men.
Cho Wei to Cho Peng. Cho Peng with the entry pass in towards the big man, Cho Chi. Foul.
Fouls on Singapore, number 10, Owen Cow. Involving a forward in line of vision.
Foul on Kwek. War
War
Ai-lun, ready to come into the game. Another young player, just 21 years of age. 8.1 points per game, 2.3 assists per game at the 2013 championships as a teenager.
And Guo in the under-17 World Championships at 2010, he averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds and 6 assists. So, you know, he's a player with potential to be truly world-class, and they're hoping this will be the tournament where he takes that next step up.
And the line making the first is Cho Chi. He's got 3 of China's 5 points. 8.9 points per game, 6.1 boards a game for him at the Asia Cup last year, at the age of just 18. He's got 4 points early on. Moved on by Han Bin. Kwek now Han Bin again. And a foul on Guo Ai-lun.
You can see that China are being physical with Wong a real priority, and 2 hands around him that time, trying to make it difficult for him to use screens and get open.
Try for the 3 here, Singapore. Can't get it. Rebound for Cho Chi. Plenty of those. Through the legs, moved on. And then further on, a little off balance Ding, but they're able to recover it. Ding picks himself back up off the floor. A mid-range jumper, good for Cho Chi. Doesn't have to jump that much though.
That's the definition of a mismatch right there. He looked down in the distance, he could see his defender's head, and he calmly popped in the 2.
6-point Chinese lead after 4 minutes. Singapore with just the 1 field goal so far from 4 attempts. There's Wong. Looking to go to work again, lost the dribble, almost lost the ball. Trying to gather it in now. There's a real battle with Cho Peng. And a shot clock violation. China will come away with it quickly. Can't take advantage the first time. They do the second time with the foul. Ding Yanyu Han with a chance at a 3-point play.
Well, Ding will get the points, but what about the hustle from the big fella, Cho Chi, diving on the floor at 218 centimetres, winning the loose ball, and then having the presence of mind to kick it ahead and get the assist. That's a superb play, not just for a big guy, but a young guy as well.
Let's see if Ding Yanyu Han can add another and improve the Chinese start to a 9-point lead. Slow start, but then getting more and more impressive now with 4.5 minutes on the clock. They do lead by 9.
They're generating a lot of their offense from their defense, so expect them to keep getting up in the passing game and trying to force mistakes.
Han Bin, making some movement ahead of him. Plays it to Wong Wei Long. Wong Wei Long always looking to try and penetrate down the centre. Onto the right hand, shot clock winding down, the rejection from Cho Peng.
And already today we've seen Cho Peng do a little bit of everything, and that's his strength as a player, and China need him to be able to step up at that World Cup level and be that player.
A chance to make it a double-digit lead for the hosts. Ding trying to play it in towards E. We're across the midway point in the first quarter and just 2 points for Singapore. As they make alterations here and improve, it could be a long evening.
And we've seen the difference in their defense since Go Kelvin went to the bench with 3 fouls, and it's really opened things up for the Chinese passing game, because there isn't that long athlete in there to deflect those passes or deter them in the first place.
Yi Jianlian is at the line. Able to get his first points of these championships, playing his 4th Asia Championships. One of the star performers over the last decade or so, really, for China. Running down the baseline. This is the shot, though. That's Wong Wei Long, and China will come at pace. the mark in the corner, allowed the defence an opportunity to get back. Whoa. Around to Chopeng. Chopeng's going to put it up from the outside, nothing but net. And the Chinese lead continues to grow early on.
A three-pointer, a block, a strong drive to the basket from Chopeng. So he's adding to his resume tonight.
Bit of everything from the Chinese number 10. By Desmond Doe. In by Lim Shengyu. He's going to try and turn away from the big man and gets it to draw.
That's an incredible move against a much bigger opponent. He'll tell his grandkids about what he did there on that move.
Do a bit more of it. Singapore get closer here. Just their second field goal of the game. It comes up over the 6-minute mark. And they're looking to continue the ascendancy, moving it well here. The mid-range missed though by Chai Chuan, and then back in it goes. So even in the second attempt, China getting them to go.
That's 6 offensive rebounds for China. And if you take that out of the equation, the defensive job by Singapore has been very impressive. Their rotations and their help defense has been excellent. But you know, it's hard when you're undersized to collect that rebound.
Way long was way short, and China remained up by 14.
And you see on a lot of these offenses when it gets low on the shot clock, they leave it to Wong. He has to go one out against bigger opponents. They've got to try and find a way to have the ball in someone else's hands, like get him off a couple of screens where he gets some separation so he can elevate for the shot or up fake and get to the basket. But against a set defense, it's tough for a little man like that.
Final 3 minutes lead, first quarter coming up. China continuing with Chai, back out to the outside, they move it around to Guo. Good penetration, kicks it back out for the three. And Chai Xiao Chuan knocks it down. The lead continues to grow, now up to 17. What a start for the hosts here. They lead 21-4. As Singapore are forced to call a timeout, having hit just 2 of 8 from the field. China 6 of 12 for a 17-point lead. First quarter points already for China, with almost 3 minutes of the quarter still to play. 6 points for Cho and 5 apiece for Chai and Chopeng. It's been a really impressive start for the hosts here at the 2015 FIBA Asia Championships. The lead 17 points over a suffocated Singapore offense in this first quarter, limited to just 2 field goals and just 4 points. See if they can pick it up on the offensive end off the timeout, with Desmond Doe attacking quickly, missing the layup though. Here's Guo Ailun. Moves it across to Chai, back to Guo from this near side. They're taking their time, slowing it down here, still 10 seconds to find a shot. Gets it back, and will shoot the three. They've started to knock a few of those down, can't hit this time though. Their previous 2 from 3-point range. Desmond Doe falls backwards now. One-way long. Moved on by Lim Shengyu, and then further on into the corner to Quek. Quek looking to get inside. Plenty of height. The Chinese red in there. Nowhere really to go, and China can come now in transition. And come quickly as well. And get it to drop. And extend the lead to 19 early on.
And you talked about it being a long night for Singapore if they couldn't score a few more baskets, but if they're going to let China get transition baskets as well as dominate the half court, it's definitely going to be a long evening.
On to Wong. Wong looking around, trying to probe, but was to a certain extent out of ideas and going to have to try and take it on himself here at the end of the shot clock. And that just sums it up for Singapore in this first quarter.
After a promising first few minutes where their defense was getting the job done, but as soon as China clicked into gear, started getting some ball movement, and we saw on the last made three-pointer, 3 or 4 passes against the scrambling defense that have penetration of passes. There's only so long the defense can scramble and recover.
Chao Long over to the far side to Li Gen. Move it around the perimeter and try and shoot from the corner. That one off the mark from Chai Xiao Chuan. Final minute of the first quarter. Lead at 19. Singapore just trying to eat into that a little bit. Every little helps. They would love to get another field goal before the end of the quarter.
Generally, players, it's a little bit short of that corner three-pointer, and generally players shoot a high percentage from that spot. And I've seen the last couple of attempts by Ding have been from that corner, so it'll be interesting to watch the rest of the game. Is that something that China have put an emphasis on for this tournament?
Wang taking over is Jung Jinglun. Now Desmond Doe moved on to Tan. And back to Desmond Doe, who's going to drive inside. Knocked away the first time, knocked away the second time. He'll try and recover it here again, Singapore. China able to come away and have numbers on the break as well, but can't finish that time with Wong Che-Li.
Impressive attempt at a block shot from Kwek Wei. He got way upstairs, he gets his hand on top of the basketball. The referee didn't like a little bit of the contact on the arm beforehand.
So China at the line to try and make it a 20-point game in the first quarter. Wong Charlene, 21-year-old, another one of those huge players, 214 centimetres. This is the first. 10.2 points per game, 6 rebounds a game. The championships 2 years ago. Able to get his first point at the 2015 championships. The lead is 20. Jung Jinglun. Picked off here. They'll come in transition again for an easy basket with Chai Xiao Chuan. And the lead just continues to grow and to grow, as big as the Great Wall.
And we saw earlier in the game China's defense was a little more passive. They were worried about being beaten to the basket, but they've seen they can contain the Singaporeans, and now they're getting more aggressive, getting into the passing lanes and trying to create some cheap baskets.
Foul here on Chai Xiao Chuan, his second. 3.5 seconds remaining in the first. Singapore have a chance finally to add to those 4 points from the foul line. Han Bin. This is the first. Just do with one of these to go. Stuck on that number. Have been for a while.
Yeah, basketball's a mental game, and that ball's not going through the hoop. Everything else seems more difficult.
We get that one. China still looking for a shot right at the end of the quarter. I think 26 points is enough. They have been absolutely superb, the hosts, in the opening 10 minutes of the competition on home soil, and led by the 9 points of the number 9 Chai Xiao Chuan. They've got 6 points as well from Cho Chi. They lead at the end of one by 21. It's Singapore 5, China 26.
You see that quarter, for Singapore, a tale of woe offensively when we look at those shooting numbers, in stark contrast to China, who, after a slow start, have really found their range. The rebounding differential, 13 to 4 turnovers, 5 Singapore turnovers to 2 from China, and you see the 4 steals from China. They're getting up and active in the passing lanes, and it's a real test here for Singapore. Maybe they're not going to win this game. It's really going to be a struggle from here. But it's a real test. How can they make adjustments? How can they come up with counters so that when China are up in the passing lane, you can make them pay back door? And we saw on the very first play of the day that Wong Wei Long got to the back door, got himself a good look, and they need to have some more dynamic action like that offensively. From a Chinese,
Sorry, Paul.
from a Chinese perspective, I mean, as these highlights show, that they really, there's almost that nervousness at the start of the tournament, playing in front of the home crowd. As you said, you know, they haven't had great recent success in this tournament. They lost the, they lost the last tournament, came fifth, lost to Chinese Taipei in the quarterfinals. So there are some mental scars there, but it seems like once that pressure valve was released, they got on top and looked like a very dominant team.
Certainly eased the pressure after failing to score in the first couple of minutes. They finished the quarter with 26 points, and Singapore need to find a way to stop the bleeding, to limit the damage, and to execute on offense themselves, as well as getting a few defensive stops.
I think a number of times in that quarter we thought that it was a nice play, a nice move. They didn't finish it off. And when you're playing against a country as good as China, you've got to make those chances count.
Singapore 2 of 12 from the field in the first quarter. China 8 of 16. Score at the start of the second is Singapore 5, China 26. Shoot straight away off the inbound. Need to try and grab the offensive board and do, almost throw it back into Chinese hands and eventually turn the ball over.
New way into the ball game for China, the 35-year-old. First debuted at a major tournament in 2002, the World Championships in India.
One from downtown for Li Gen. The lead will grow a little bit more. China 3 of 6 from three-point range. Lead at 24 points. Han Bin moves it on. Then Zhong Jinglun. Zhong Jinglun again. Towards Han Bin. Twist and turn, only a couple of seconds left on the shot clock. They don't get a good shot away. Defense got a piece of it, and the suffocation of Singapore continues here. Looking to attack and draw contact. Cho Peng will go to the line.
And I guess one other important factor to consider is all these Chinese players are full-time professionals. They dedicate themselves to developing their bodies. These Singapore players don't have that same luxury. You can see now as the game's going on that difference in physicality. Cutting anywhere on offense is difficult for Singapore. You saw there, Cho Peng just working his way in front of his opponent, being strong and establishing position.
China started their training sooner than anyone else for this tournament, all the way back in March. There's plenty of rigorous tests in preparation, facing the likes of Serbia, Russia, Lithuania's under-24 team and European clubs. Preparations paying off for the moment on the opening day. Certainly gets to the test of this as the tournament progresses, but so far so good, everything running smoothly. Joe hands it off to Zhong Jinglun. Again. To drive. One-on-one rejected by Li Wu-Hao, who just shut the door.
That's some impressive athleticism from the big fella. He got beaten initially. Look at his athletic ability to recover and then elevate and block the shot.
Incredible wingspan. Shot clock down to just 2, down to 1. They don't get it away in time. Another shot clock violation. There's been a few of those now. A shake of the head from Delvin Go.
Look at those last two players from Singapore. Tomorrow night, you talk about sterner test. China face Korea tomorrow. Very Korean-style plays of isolating a big man at the top of the key who can shoot or go to the basket. So that's something that the Chinese coach, Don Wu Ming, is going to enjoy probably practicing against tonight to get his players ready.
Shantai long, and then kicked over to the far side. He again knocks down another from three-point range. China doing it inside and outside. The has grown to 27, 2 minutes played in the second quarter. That's ball movement this around the perimeter for Singapore, but they can't get the shot to go. And then a foul as the rebound is grabbed by Wu Wei.
Fouls on Singapore, number 9. Blocking foul.
9 points so far for Chai Xiao Chuan, leading the way ball scorers in the game. And Singapore don't have anyone who's scored more than 2 points. The far side to again, he's going to shoot the three again. Back-to-back threes from again. The lead has grown to 30 after 13 minutes.
Singapore into the 2-3 zone. China responds straight away by splashing.
Singapore will have to keep on working. They'll have to forget about the scoreline to a certain extent. And if they can do a bit of that, well, one way lob from way outside. It's their third field goal, coming 13 minutes in. He's got 5 of their 8 points. 5. Continue doing all game long, attacking aggressively inside this time was Wu Hao. Singapore coming with a defensive stop, now a chance for back-to-back baskets.
And again, Lim Sheng Yu's really impressive interior defense. A man who's not all that big, putting his body on the line and making it tough.
Wong. That free wanted not too long ago, trying to get going inside and picking up the pieces as Delvin go. Back-to-back baskets. 5 quick-fire points for Singapore. They've doubled their tally in the space of the last 30 seconds or so.
You see on the last 2 possessions, Wong's received the ball after a ball reversal. So the defense has shifted a little. He's got a little bit of space. When he's in that situation, he's got the skills to make things happen.
The Wei's passing towards Cho Peng and a foul from behind on Lim Sheng Yu.
Fouls on Singapore, number 12.
Second on
Holding
Lim.
foul. Charles Lee shooting line on the inside.
Huge cheer. Jian Liang comes back in.
I'm sure Broadway Lim's parents will tell you the cheers for him as he walked in.
Too much to cheer for Singapore right now, down by 25. They're able to have the opportunity to cheer something now, but still, it's the hosts up off their seats. Especially if this goes in. Bang! Cho Peng with the 3 after the rejection at the other end. Highlight reel stuff from the hosts.
Perhaps China catching a little breakdown. Hints of a goaltend on the block shot, but the home fans won't complain at all. That was a
That's entry pass, another rejection. They've just got so much height. Singapore struggling to deal with it right now. They can't convert to the other end this time. Midway points of the second quarter now. The Chinese lead stands at 28. As high as 30. Doe. Some movement comes in the form of one-way long. Looking for somewhere to go. The shot clock right at the end again. He fangs a way through this time. Good play from Wong.
Yeah, beautiful hesitation, dribble, stood up out of his defensive stance and went right around him.
Faced by the final seconds of the shot clock. Again, the far side, away towards the big man here. He's going to fade away and knock it down.
If he had to paint a picture to sum up his career, it's that step back fall away jump shot. He's made hundreds of them in the reaches.
He's come up with a steal at the other end as well. No look pass across to the near side to Guo Ai Lun. He's going to move it further on. Do again. Trying to spin away. A foul. Offensive foul called on the end.
You just have to admire the pluck of Singapore. Desmond Doe in that situation clearly outmatched him, but he didn't give any ground. Worked his way around, got the steal, and while they may be 28 points behind, the intensity hasn't really dropped away from their defense. that's a good sign. If they can keep that for 4 quarters, that's a promising sign for Singapore basketball.
Desmond to go right down the heart of the defense, forced away inside, moves it back to Delman to go. One short rebound grabbed by Jian. Foul, Desmond.
Representing Singapore, number 2.
4 minutes in the first half, China leading 14-12. First game here as hosts in Chongsha.
That's
foul the second round. Peng to Jian. Further on to Deep. Inside. Interior defense from Singapore that time tonight, Joe Peng.
Representing China, number 10. Pushing down.
Changes coming for China now. Chai Suo Chuan back in the game, one of the leading scorers with 9 points, along now with Li Gen. To the far side to Delman go. One-on-one now with Joe Peng. Gets it to go.
That was a world-class move. Just in the last few minutes, we've noticed him becoming a little bit more aggressive. Perhaps he's feeling a little bit of confidence and really prepared to take it at the bigger opponent.
Now Wei against Waters on the far side. Passes it in towards E. Has it knocked away. And then there's a whistle.
Just more of that defensive hustle we talked about. They called that big unsportsmanlike foul. I suspect his arm just got caught up in the singlet, but I guess when there's such a size difference between the two players, it can look worse than it is. But you've got to admire the defensive hustle of Long. He certainly passes around the legs of the big guys and gets his hand in wherever he can.
Some points in Singapore this first half, half of their overall output. A chance to add to that from the line now. To hit that one. 15.5 points per game, 4.3 rebounds in the Asia Cup last year. And already over the halfway point of that average, and had another one, 9 points in the first half in 14 minutes on court. Sportsmanlike foul, so Singapore still have possession. Final 3 minutes to half. They're looking to attack right down the centre again, high off the glass, beautifully done by Tung Han Bin.
That's an excellent finish by him, but what I really liked was that they set that ball screen well outside the three-point line. Chinese have been aggressive defending it, so they tempted them to bring the big man out and they opened up the two-way for the drive.
Now over to the far side to Xiaoxi Wei. It's another three-pointer. They've hit 7 of 10 from downtown in the first half.
It's marginal gains for Singapore, isn't it? Every time they make some ground, China stamp it out pretty quickly.
Long way long. To split the defence and drive forward and draw the contact. He's holding his right leg as he falls to the floor. That's a concern in this tournament.
See it knee on knee clash there. They're never fun, especially if you come off the wrong end of it. It doesn't look good, you're right. He's staying down. That could be a serious call.
Well, I just hope it's a dead leg or something like that. They can rub off and take a seat for a few minutes and figure out, but it looks pretty serious.
I mean, that's an enormous concern for the Singapore team and Coach Neo. Because so much of their offense goes through him, and his speed is probably the main factor that allows them to get the openings and being getting out. He's confined to the bench. It's tough times.
It did look to be certainly key on key, and it's good to see him back to his feet, wobbling away. Hopefully just one that you have to walk off. able to walk his own way back to the bench, which again is a positive sign.
Sometimes it's easy to say, oh, it's only a call. You don't say that when you're the one who received it. Oh, that's right.
He's got 9 of Singapore's 18 points to underline his importance to this team. Foul on blow. Certainly wasn't intentional, the injury. Now one-hand bin. Final 2 minutes of the first half, moved on to Delvin Go. Final 5 seconds of the shot clock here. Go gets it away from the foul line, but it's well off the mark. Didn't actually touch the rim, so a shot clock violation.
I think there's a little bit of a dispute here. The referees are going to have a discussion.
24 seconds, violation,
24-second shot clock violation. Looking down the Singapore bench, the ice has gone straight onto Wong's knee, and it's a possibility they may look at the scoreboard and think this game's out of reach. Let's save our best player and get it right for tomorrow.
No point taking any risks with somebody who could become so key to the rest of the group. Yang Yu Kwan moves it on, handed off by E. Now a chance to take over from Guo. Towards the big man E, looking to force it up, hustle it up towards the rim, and he gets fouled in the process.
About 2 Singapore players hanging off him, but I'm not sure if he felt it. It was almost an extraordinary finish on that alley-oop play from behind him. He's best to prevent the basket. It's 2 shots and possession.
2 shots.
What else can you do? That kind of a mismatch to guard this guy. This is the first from the foul line. 17.4 points per game, 6.6 rebounds at the competition a couple of years ago. A double-double at the 2012 Olympics. 14.8 points per game, 10.2 rebounds per game. Tremendous figures to average. And actually over 16 points per game average across his last 6 major international tournaments.
It's an impressive record. He's also averaged double-doubles at both the Olympics and the World Cup. That's not easy to do against some of the world's best players.
Challenging way. Hits as they have possession after the free throws. And get your calculator out to figure out what this lead is. Singapore looking to finish the half with perhaps a little bit of a run though. 70 seconds. Still Singapore ball. 5 points in the first quarter, 13 in the second. They have improved significantly. Singapore still a chance to add to that second quarter tally. Second foul on D.
You have to give some credit to Coach Neo for that. You know, we talked at quarter time about the need to have counters for that pressure defense. China getting up into the passing lanes and forcing them out of their offense. And this quarter they've done a much better job of attacking the basket when that happens, because there isn't going to be help defense in place.
Jong Jing Lun at the line and missing the first. Played a small role in the Asia Cup last year, but he's not had too much involvement with the national team, big tournaments. 21 years of age. It's all part of the learning process for these young players. Towards E. Buzz about this crowd every time he gets the ball, kicks it back to Cho Shi Wei. 3 off the mark, offensive rebound for Ding. He still can't force it in. Well, I look. 14 seconds to work with as he attack towards the baseline. Cho Shi Wei drives inside, kicks it back out. Lovely ball movement. The 3 knocked down eventually by Ding.
You hit the nail on the head there. Lovely ball movement. Watch the Singapore defense. It scrambles from one side to the other, but the more you move the ball can move faster than the feet. You're going to get an open shot at some point.
Number 4.
Final 23 seconds of the half. The lead is 30 points for China. Singapore back to the line with Desmond Doe.
I think Singapore would be pretty happy. It's 22-13 this quarter. If you can make one of these free throws, you have to only be outscored by 8 or 9 for the quarter would be a great result for them.
I want to talk about it all at half-time and come back and have a similarly strong third quarter. Just to build a bit of hope, a bit of optimism for the tournament moving forward. Shot clock turned off at the end of the first half. China hoping to make it a 15-point half. So Shi Wei, Ding. They get a good shot here. Offensive foul from Ding. I think he's saying it was accidental.
He does not mind getting up and in and getting physical. He doesn't mind taking a little bit of punishment, but it gets the reward on this occasion. He's probably a little bit lucky, but he was brave enough to put his head where the elbow was and he got the foul call.
Go off the mark with a three, and it brings the first half to a close. Really impressive first 20 minutes of the FIBA Asia Championships for host China. 48 points, and they lead by 29 at the half, behind the 9 points apiece of Chai Xiao-Chuan and Li Gen. Half-time score: Singapore 19, China 48.
Well, we look at some of the numbers, and again, look at that three-point shooting percentage, 63% from China. And if you're Singapore, you're undersized, you say, we're going to take away the keyway. But when the other team's shooting 7-11 from long range, there's not a lot you can do. Singapore got on top of their turnover numbers a little bit as that quarter wore on, and that probably tells the story of why they were able to put a few more points on the board. And we see Wong there with 9 points, and you know, for the sake of this game, let's hope we can get back out and make a contribution in the second half.
Look at the top scorers there. I've talked about those two with 9 points. 3 points as well for Cho. Plenty of them approaching double figures for China. He's the rebound leaders. He has 6 boards as well as his 5 points. Just thinking about the positives here for China, apart from the obvious, you've got to think about that 3-point shooting, because they're going to be able to give a match to anybody inside. If they can hit from the outside as well, then they've got a bit of everything.
Yeah, and as we see, they've got that defensive height and reach inside. Yeah, see the turnover, that's another area. Like, if they can get the ball into their big guys, you know, without having a lot of turnovers, and then, as you say, if they can kick it back outside and make them play from the 3-point line, then they will be very hard to stop.
Plenty of frustration for Singapore in that first half, especially in the first quarter when they had 5 points, but to improve on that to 14 points in the second quarter will give Neo Beng Xiang something to be happy about at the half. He won't be happy about how the game might have ended for this man though. Wong Wei Long, 9 of those 19 points for Singapore, but then that knee injury, and hopefully able to continue, if not today then tomorrow. That could be, no matter what the differential in this first game, that could be the worst part of it for Singapore. Yeah,
absolutely. And you know, when you don't have a lot of depth, you can't afford to lose someone to injury. A team like Iran or China, perhaps, but that would spell doom for Singapore.
China leading 48-19 at the half. Join us again for the second half in around 10 minutes' time. Welcome back to the first game for the hosts here in Chongsha. And what a start. They've made 48 points in the first half and a huge lead by 29 over Singapore. So much scoring. Is it going to continue in the second half? Plenty of big blocks as well. And we drew reference to the improvement of Singapore in the second quarter. Are they going to improve even further in the third?
Yeah, well, the challenge for them is to keep playing with this intensity for 4 quarters. It's been impressive how much they've stuck to their guns across 2 quarters. You know, when completely overmatched for size. Can they do it for 4 quarters?
Econ get on the board straight away at the start of the second half.
And the challenge for China is the same. It's a different aim, but they want to be working through their systems for 4 quarters, getting ready for a tougher challenge tomorrow against Korea.
Oh, big finish from E to lift this crowd right at the start of the third, and they reach the half a century mark. 50-19 China lead. Wong Wei Long, who's back after that injury. Really good to see from a Singapore point of view and for this tournament as a whole. They will try and score for the first time in the third quarter and do.
Quick way, impressive step back. He's been watching E. That's E's trademark move, and he made it look easy himself.
Thrown up here towards one of those big men in Cho Chi. The 19-year-old looking to go to work, can't quite get it to drop.
He's dangerous inside there because his elbows, and they're pointy elbows, they're at head height for a lot of those Singapore defenders. And you see here, he has the patience to throw in some up fakes. You know, the test for him later in the tournament against some bigger, stronger guys is, can he maintain that composure under the hoop?
And of course, at the age of 19, yet to fully develop physically. He's only going to get stronger. He's already got the height, plenty of it.
And he has that stereotypical basketball build with the long limbs. And if he can put in the work to develop the fundamentals and the work to develop the physique, you know, anything's possible for a man of his size.
Splits that trip to the line, has 7 points now. Almost picked off there by Ding Yan Yu Han.
Substitution for Nick Singapore， 来为这个外援。好，我们请正在拍照的您检查一下您的闪光灯是否已经关闭了。
19 years of age, you've still got another 2 or 3 years of filling out to do, and that's an ominous prospect for the rest of Asian and world basketball. And there's a big rejection from the 19-year-old. China coming up court, and Ding Yan Yu Han able to score.
And with Zhou Peng and Ding, they have those athletes who can rebound, but they can handle the ball. Yeah, they're long and strong and can get out in the open court and finish. And yeah, that's an ominous sign for other teams, that teams are going to have to take good shots and get back quickly in defensive transition, because you can't leak those sort of points to China, given the weapons they've got in the half court as well.
Ding Yan Yu Han completes the three-point play. Trying to continue to score big, 6 points in the first minute and a half of the third quarter. Desmond Doe looking to drive into the paint. Really congested in there, and he ran into a defensive wall, found it difficult to break the big Chinese ceiling, tipped away by Delvin Go. Singapore back in possession.
Not a good sign for China there, you know. Yu Wei, he only had a short CBA season in China. He hasn't played for the national team since 2012, and that was a rusty pass. They need him making good decisions as the bigger games come up.
Wong Wei Long looking to get in, twisting and turning on that knee. Really quite comfortable now, not feeling any pain. Shot missed in the end by Delvin Go. Lovely play, and then the emphatic finish from Cho Chi.
And how about the pass from Yi at 214 centimetres? He threads the needle and finds his young teammate for the jam.
Foul on Cho Peng.
I think Desmond Doe, he'd be happy in any contact sport. You know, almost every possession, he's trying to find a way to create contact. As we see that pass, look at the angle from E. And the big fella, he was a little short on it, but he still tucked it in.
Just got it to roll in off the fingertips. Wong Wei Long. Picked up here by Ung Han Bin. Shot clock down to 5. Singapore trying to find a way to get towards the paint, knocked away from Delvin Go. Still going to be Singapore ball. Only 1 left on the shot clock.
And again, though, we saw Go with that confidence. You know, he's throwing a number of jabs and shot fakes. And, I've been impressed by the way he's continued to go at E. Even, you know, sometimes it doesn't work for him. He keeps going back to the well.
Off the shins of Ding Yan Yu Han. Wong Wei Long. Point away from double figures, gets the pass in. They don't get time to take the shot. This clearly no concern whatsoever about one-way long-outs. They wouldn't risk him in this situation.
No, he looks to be moving fine, and hopefully he's got a couple of those nice little moves to the basket left for us for the rest of the night.
Liu Wei. There's a foul on Wong here. His second. It's the third foul on Cho Chi. In fact, went the other way. Kwek moved on. Chance to move it across to this near side to Ung Han Bin. He's able to get it to rattle down and in.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen enough of that from Ung Han Bin. You know, he can shoot the basketball. He's shown he's got nice drives, and it was a nice play to get him moving to the weak side. The ball reversal, he catches it with space and makes a great decision.
Yang Yuhan across to Chow Tai Long. It goes to the big man, to Yi. He looking to get between three of them. Gets it to go, and the foul. And now a chance to move into double figures.
And that's just strength. Have a look at these two defenders. They're all over him. They're hanging on the basketball. He steps through to the third one and putting it up and in.
He's certainly come to play yet again. Closing in on a double-double now. Makes it 10 points and 8 rebounds in 16 minutes on court so far.
See Liu Wei just right up on Wong Wei Long, making it hard for him to receive the basketball so that someone else who's not as comfortable has to handle the ball.
Difficult job for Kwek to get over half court, does so eventually. Desmond Doe behind the back, looking to attack aggressively here. Lovely move to beat Cho Tai Long and then finish off the glass.
He just loves taking it against the bigger guys, Desmond Doe. He thrives on the contact.
Liu Wei goes in towards Yi Jianlian. Back out to the perimeter, they swiftly move it around to Ding. Puts it up contested from the corner. An offensive board for China. Chow Tai Long in towards Yi again, knocked away. You can just feel the electricity in the crowd every time he gets the ball, every time they look for him to get the ball.
It's the anticipation that builds. We see there Singapore into a 3-2 zone and then doubling down on the low post, and a lot of standing around from the Chinese players, you know, against a taller team, a more athletic team. They've got to get that movement away from the basketball to draw the defenders away from the big guy.
Approaching the midway point of the third quarter. China have added 10 to their half-time tally and a chance to add more with Yi Jianlian at the line. You're going to see some impressive numbers from him in this tournament. No doubt about that. The number 11 has 11. There you can see how close he is to that double-double, make it 12 points and 8 boards. 36 points is the lead now for China. Han Bin across to Kwek, moved on further. Lim goes back across to the near side to Wong. Wong's going to put up the three, a couple of feet, back behind the arc and nails it. 12 points for him now.
And you see that China happy to switch a taller defender onto Wong, but that time it didn't matter. He just took half a step back and fired it over the top.
It's a whistle on the play here, some contact, the paint. Foul on Cho Peng. This is fourth. So Cho Peng in foul trouble. 8 points in the game, but now 4 fouls.
And over the past 10 minutes of this contest, since midway through the second quarter, Singapore have only been outscored by 7 points, so they'll take that as a real win.
Got to look for the positives here, and there are plenty of them. There's becoming more and more the longer the game goes on. Starting to find a bit more rhythm, starting to work at things. It's almost like an extra training exercise in terms of this tournament preparation moving forward. Denied that time, another shot clock violation. Xiao Chuan moved around the perimeter now all the way to Cho Tai Long. And this is Liu Wei. Waiting for movement ahead of him. Wong Chai Lin. Back to Liu Wei, knocked away. A defensive stop here for Singapore and a chance to come in transition. And they blow the opportunity. At a couple of easier points, there's not going to be too many of those chances.
Yeah, and Kwek Wei, he spent it before he had it. He was thinking about how he's going to get up and over the bigger Chinese defender. But on the previous half-court possession for Singapore, we saw the quick ball movement, but then it stopped. And I think it was, I believe it was Delvin Goh who caught the ball. He thought about it. He started dribbling sideways. Once that happens, the Chinese defense gets set. They've got to keep the ball moving. If they're going to dribble, it's got to be going hard at the basket.
Ding moved on to Cho Shi Wei, moved inside towards Wong. Singapore trying to get the stop again. It's Cho Shi Wei who comes up with it over to the far side. Cho Tai Long. And they get a really easy offensive board inside, and then a foul called on Kwek.
And Wong's got to finish that. You know, he's a big guy, he's a strong guy. You look at his girth, he's a big fellow. It's just Kwek Wei, a pint-sized Singaporean. Did a great job to put that physical pressure on him. But, you know, in the more important games, Wong's got to put that in and be at the line for one bonus.
Wong Chalin gets the trip to the line instead. Of getting the 2+1, he gets the 2 foul shots and gets the first to go. Another one of those big men still learning their trade, still growing, only 21 years of age.
It can often take big guys into their mid-20s before they really start to find their feet. And, you can see that with him. You might say he's still got that sort of puppy dog feel about him, where he's growing into his body and growing into his big feet. And they certainly got some potential.
It's having the assets and then understanding how to use them. Wong Jing Lun. Now Kwek. Waiting for an option, and went for an option that wasn't there. Desmond Doe didn't make the move.
And that was a classic example there where the ball stopped moving. Once it did, China gets into the passing lanes. They've got to take some risk, keep that ball going. If there's no pass, drive past your man and make the defense react.
Chao Shi Wei, 3.5 minutes to go in the third here. China with a huge lead, 63 to 28, 35-point differential at the moment. To attack now, Chao Shi Wei over to this near side, off the mark from the outside by Chow Tai Long. Another offensive rebound here. Back out to the perimeter again. Calling for the ball frantically on the near side was Chai. Singapore come away with it. And pirouette back, chance for the three-pointer passed up by Desmond Doe, and then has it taken away from behind, but still going to be Singapore ball.
Great anticipation by Chai there. You know, the big fella, he read what was going on, and I think he was thinking dunk. He just couldn't quite get the handle on the ball.
There's the slip from Cho Tai Long that allowed Singapore to come away with the ball. We're going to have a timeout here in the third quarter, with China leading 63 to 28. (63-28) the lead for China, with 3 minutes and 1 second to play in the third. It's been a wonderful start to the tournament so far for them. Singapore still finding their feet in the tournament, learning how to play against this top side. We expect China to challenge all the way in this tournament, and Singapore are just finding out how difficult it is. They do have 12 points from Wong, who recovered from that knee injury in the first half and has moved into double figures here in the second. That's one of the positives, or two of the positives, his performance and his fitness. And they're learning out how to deal with different situations, finding a bit more rhythm. They have limited China to 15 points in the last 7 minutes since the half, which is better. China looking to score here and continue to do so. Chai Xiao Chuan, he moves into double figures, has 11. The mark from Ung Jong Jinglun.
Yeah, but that's good offense. You know, quick ball movement, quick pass. They made their decision. They didn't stand and wait.
Li Gen from the outside with another one. He has 12 now to tie the leading scorers in the game. 4 of 4 from the outside.
And that's 8 Chinese players on the scoreboard. They take a lot of heart from the fact that everyone who's come in has made a contribution in some way.
3 in double figures now. The lead has grown to 40. It's the largest lead of the game. 2 minutes and 2 seconds of the third to play. Foul on Wong.
And once again, go with that confidence to use the ball handling, take on the bigger opponent. You know, you even show a little bit of shake and bake on that move.
Wong Wei Long will inbound here for Singapore. Rebound grabbed by Wong Cha-Lin. Now attack inside, move it on to Wong, who's going to go to work and going to put it in.
Yeah, we talked about Wong needing to finish earlier. Some really nice composure there. Didn't rush it, took the extra dribble, pivoted through, and a nice touch.
Lim Sheng Yu, and move it through the middle, kick it back out. Have to start again almost here with Wong Wei Long. He's going to take on the 3. Still plenty of time remaining, but he doesn't need it.
And every time they switch a bigger opponent onto him, his eyes light up, he fakes, he takes that little half step back and splash.
He's got 15 points in the game now. It's half of his team's output. China trying to answer back. Singapore desperately trying to recover the rebound, and in the end, Desmond O steps on the line.
And at the start of the night, we talked about there were some concerns about his form. He struggled at the Southeast Asian Games, but I think they can be put to rest after his performance tonight.
Chao Shi Wei ready to inbound and towards Wong Cha-Lin. The key part of this now for China is getting experience to the full extent of the roster. Those young players in particular who are still developing. Wong is one of them.
They've taken just 4 3-point attempts in this third quarter, and I think it's probably a change in focus from Coach Gong. You know, at half-time, he wants them to get the ball inside, find these young big guys and get them a bit of confidence.
Wong certainly had plenty of opportunities now, and a chance to add to his tally from the line. He's got 5 points. Add one more, make it 6 for Wong. Calvin Go moving into the paint. Back to Wong Wei Long. Final minute of the third quarter. Wong Wei Long spinning into trouble, trying to shake off the attentions of Chao Shi Wei. Attacking, difficult shot. Trying to come away with the board and come away quickly. Across to the near side, Li Gen passes up the opportunity for the 3 this time. Chow Tai Long won't. Offensive board for Wong.
And a clever foul there from Wong. It was going to be a certain 2 points. Got his hands in there. He's forced him to the line. On that last offensive play, I'd love to see Wong on that penetration, kick it out to the open man. We've seen he can create his own shot. Love to see him create some shots for others a little bit more.
So back at the line again is Wong, where he's 4 of 6 so far. An opportunity here to have a double-digit game for the 21-year-old centre. Getting plenty of minutes in the second half. Now 7 points. Make it 8 points in 8 minutes on court, 6 of 8 from the foul line. 30 seconds of the third quarter. Lead at 42 for China. Pirouettes away on the foul line, found himself free. Tan missed the shot though. China looking to finish the third quarter and the basket to stretch the lead here with Chai Xiao-Chuan and now Cho Shi-wei. They're going to hold it for the final shot if they can. They'll take it on from downtown. Unable to hit. And it is still a huge lead at the end of three for China by 42. They lead Singapore. And the impressive first half carried over into the third quarter. Maybe for them the ambition is to try and hit that magic century mark. But at the end of three, they lead 73 to 31.
Probably just some signs that quarter as we look, the Chinese three-point shooting has dropped away. Still shooting 51% from inside though, which is quality numbers. The rebounds, 16 offensive boards, and that's just through brute size. But again, that turnover count has narrowed once again. So there are some positives for Singapore, but I think at the end of that third quarter, we saw fatigue just starting to kick in a little bit. Their intensity dropped. There weren't quite the same rotations on defense, and it could be said for China to pull away a little bit in this last quarter.
Desmond Doe has played with great passion, great intensity. There's plenty of positives indeed for Singapore, and for Wong, who recovered from the injury, 5 of 14 from the field, 3 of 5 from downtown en route to his 15 points. 3 double-figure games for China so far, but Wong stepping up there will want to get a double-figure game himself. 8 points now, and will play big minutes, I'm sure, in the fourth quarter. They're led so far by the 12 points apiece of Yi and Li Gen. Li Gen, who's hit 4 of 4 from the field, all of them from downtown. And Yi, who's hit 3 of 7 from the field. They've got 11 points as well from Chai Xiao-Chuan.
And 9 Chinese players on the scoreboard, so I imagine they're going to try and get Yu Guo and Chao Tai-Long onto the scoreboard. It's a near-capacity crowd here. It's built up over the course of the night, and they're certainly getting excited with the dancing girls throwing out some free giveaways.
They certainly got excited about the basketball on display from the home nation, despite the best efforts of Wong with those 15 points. China leading by 42 at the start of the fourth quarter, 73 to 31. Plenty of promise heading forward for them at these Asia Championships.
It looked like Yi Jinlian with a bit of ice perhaps on the arm there, so we may not see him again tonight.
Certainly no point taking a risk at this stage, as we've already talked about with Wong for Singapore. Foul on Fung Chong Jinglun. Chao Tai-Long to inbound for China. 25 points in that third quarter for China after 48 in the first half. Will they get the 27 to make 100? Gives you something to aim for if they can continue that kind of offensive output.
You'd be a brave man to bet against them, especially with this size inside.
Using some of that now with Li Mu Hao. And he gets the contact and will go to the line for 2. You've got E sitting at the moment, the experienced one of those big men at the age of 27, and then you've got the number 13 Li Mu Hao at 23, the number 14 Wong Cha-Lin at 21 years of age, and the number 15 Cho Chi we've talked plenty about at 19 years of age. A great opportunity to increase their confidence on this stage, get them plenty of minutes and plenty of points perhaps. Fung Chong Jinglun across to Desmond Doe, prodded away and very nearly taken here by Chai Xiao-Chuan right at the end of the shot clock. Instead, we've got a foul.
And no surprise when there was a little bit of a scramble on the floor, there was Desmond O. Making it happen for Singapore, and it's no surprise he's the captain of this team. You can see that he'd be someone who really inspires his teammates.
It's only 1 of 4 from the field, 3 points, Desmond O, but it's the things that you don't measure on a stat line that he's been doing. And will perhaps have an even greater influence in some of the other games throughout this group stage. If he can fight like this, in a position like this, against an opponent like this, then watch out for what he can do against the others. Guo Ai-lun. Going to hang it up himself. Little teardrop won't go. Grabbed by Quet. Quet coming down court quickly. Back to Go and then move back to Wong. Jung-Jin Lun. Go looking to attack and gets it to go.
And that's what he's done all night. He's had that confidence. He believes that the Chinese big men can't guard him. Even he feels confident that he can score against the former NBA veteran.
Go 3 of 9 from the field for 6 points. Guo Ai-lun. Shot clock down to 5. Guo Ai-lun looking to attack by himself, riding the challenges all the way through and forces it in.
He gets his first points for the game and got a little bit of an ankle concern down below for Cho Chi. He's committed the deliberate foul. He's put his hand up and said, I need to come out of the game. So again, let's hope that's just a precaution and he's going to get the ice on quickly so he's right to go against Korea tomorrow. And that shapes as the game for top spot in this pool.
Should be a hugely fascinating contest, that one, against Korea with their outside shooting.
Yeah, and they showed earlier tonight they've come here to play. They struggled at the World Cup last year, but they look sharp tonight.
They shot something like 62% from three-point range over the course of that win earlier on. Singapore certainly not shooting anywhere near those numbers as they missed from the outside. Again, 3 of 11 from downtown.
And you see on more and more possessions as they get tired, the shot clock's getting down deep, and they don't have the energy to cut and move as much as they need to shake this Chinese defense.
Guo Ai-lun looking to drive right down the heart of the defense and lays it up and in.
Well, Guo obviously took offense to the fact that he was only one of 3 Chinese players who hadn't scored, and he's quickly rectified that in this final quarter.
A couple of really aggressive drives. Long 2 passed up to move inside. Difficult move to go off the glass. Grabbed by Chai, and here comes China. Guo Ai-lun almost tricked himself that time. No look pass out to the outside to Cho Tai-long. Guo again. Screen set, he goes the other way. Feeds it back to Lee Mu-hao, and he puts it in.
And how good was that left-hand finish from the big fella, Lee Mu-hao? I mean, he made it look easy. That's not. He had to gather his feet underneath him and have the soft touch with the left hand to put it in.
Here's Desmond Do. Now Jung-Jin Lun moves it on to Wong Wei-long. Shot clock down to the final few seconds again, and Wong Wei-long throws it to an opponent, to a teammate rather, who wasn't there anymore. He'd made the move in the opposite direction. Bit of tiredness creeping in on that occasion, physically and in the mind as well.
And you can see at the moment when Singapore calls subs, almost all the players on court are looking to the bench, hopeful that it's their turn to have a rest, because they have worked hard tonight. They're gonna earn their supper once this game's done.
Guo Ai-lun knocked away this time. He's looking to continue his scoring burst, and then a foul on Lee Mu-hao. Three block shots for Lee Mu-hao this evening. Picks up his first foul. Wong Wei-long now 5 of 16 from the field for those 15 points. Out comes Lee Gen. To Ching Huang. Ong Han Bin is going to put up the contested 3. Off the mark, offensive board though for To Ching Huang. Lim Shung Yu. Ong Han Bin. Shot clock down to 5 again here. Off the offensive rebound. A bit of shot away, closer to the basket this time and put it in.
Some impressive ball movement there and a nice cut to the high post from Lim and a tough shot to finish off. I think he was caught in 2 minds between passing and shooting, and he still managed to have that nice touch.
Guo Lun looking to attack again and kick it out to Chao Shi Wei. Back into the big man over to the far side, just about grabbed it to Ding. Got the shot away right at the end of the shot clock though and off the mark. Real scrap for the rebound here, and Singapore come away with it. And a foul in transition. It's on Chai Xiao Chuan. Right at the midway point of the final quarter, China with 80 points. Lead Singapore by 45. Dalvin Go. Now Ong Han Bin. Here's Wong. Prodding and probing, drawing the double team for a moment, and then back one-on-one, then trying to skip away from the second and lost it on the dribble. Guo Lun. No look pass right across to the corner on the near side, and Chai Xiao Chuan couldn't get the 3 to go. To Ching Huang. 5 straight 3-point attempts missed by China now. Shot clock down to 5 again. It seems almost every time they're having to operate in the final few seconds of the shot clock. That one off the mark, and Guo Lun comes racing down court. The Chinese charge continues as Chai Xiao Chuan puts it in.
Yeah, we talked about the performance of Guo at the World Under-17 Championships, and you could just see the class in the last few minutes, his ability to get into the heart of the defense, and that left-hand pass on the fast break, that was high class.
A timeout called by Singapore, trailing by 47 with 3 minutes and 52 seconds remaining in the opening game for these two at the 2015 FIBA Asia Championships. There'll be tougher tests to come for China, that's for sure, but for Singapore, it's a wonderful learning experience here, and for them there'll be more winnable games to come. We've seen some great offensive basketball from China. So much to be admired about this team, even when there is such a big points differential with those huge players inside. Li Mu Hao, one of them. What a tantalising prospect to see those big men come up against some of the other big names and big teams in this competition as we move forward.
Yeah, and the question for China is, can their guards keep making plays for their big guys against that high-quality defense? Yeah, can they operate the pick and roll? Do they have the timing to hit them on the roll to the basket? Because if the Chinese bigs are getting the ball in the key way where they just have to catch and finish, there probably isn't a team in this competition with the size to stop them. But if they're catching the ball that little bit further out, all of a sudden China don't look quite so good. And the question mark is over their guards. Who can consistently make plays for the big guys?
All those questions will be answered over the course of the next 12 days or so. Ong Han Bin. Ong Jong Jing Lun moved on to To Ching Huang. Restricted to the perimeter at the moment, Singapore. Nothing ahead of them. They'll go for the 3. It's a little short. Ong Jong Jing Lun able to touch it, but to touch it out of bounds. I think he got a touch along the way from a Chinese player too.
Only 3.5 minutes to go, but still some real hustle from Singapore on the offensive glass there. They haven't given this game up by any means.
Really positive signs to see. If you can fight, we've talked about Desmond Doe. If you can fight in this situation, then you're going to be able to fight in a close game, that's for sure.
Delvin Go there with another offensive rebound, and he's been one of the most impressive. He's very active for a big guy.
Moved on by Go to Ong Han Bin. Another offensive ball, but couldn't tip it in.
Yu Wei yet to score, and he's come back to the Chinese national team. Number 5, the veteran. And let's see if they can get him an open look, because he's pretty handy from the three-point line when he's left open.
Just about everybody else has scored. That one good, the long two for Ding Yang Yun.
And an unselfish pass there from Liu. You know, he had the open shot, but I guess that's been China tonight. They've played some unselfish basketball, and obviously at 35 years of age, he's not too fussed about getting on the scoreboard.
Such an incredible run of major international tournaments that started with the 2002 World Championships and is continuing right here into the 2015 FIBA Asia Championships. He does get on the scoreboard, and the crowd like that one.
Yeah, that's a nice move, and we talk about composure a lot. You know, he copped the bump, but he just kept steady, got it up nice and soft on the glass, and you know, that's a man who's played against some pretty high-quality opponents over the years.
Played through the 2004, 2008 and 2012 Olympics, averaging 8.2 points per game in all of those major tournaments combined.
And I think one of the unsung heroes, I know their former coach Bob Dunwald, he's someone the Chinese media have questioned over the course. Does Liu give them enough? But he always stressed that he was the rock that the team was built around, and he allowed the other players to shine.
Tan Ching Hong moves it back to the perimeter. Knocked over as he took the shot on was Lim Sheng-yu. Final 2 minutes here of this first game for these two at the FIBA Asia Championships. China well and truly in control, have been really since the second quarter. Bustling his way in, and to the hoop is Wang Chalin. Double figures for him now. Becomes the 5th Chinese player into double figures, and there's a few more closing in on that milestone.
Kelvin Lim into the game for Lim Sheng-yu.
Kelvin Lim, just 18 years of age, the number 22 for Singapore. Wong Han-bin is going to take on the three-pointer. He's going to hit the three-pointer.
Now, I spoke earlier, I'd like to see more of that from him. He has that nice touch, he's mobile, so he makes the big men who are guarding him pretty uncomfortable, and twice now he's hit that semi-contested jump shot.
There's Liu Wei as we approach the final minute of this game. They move it inside again. One blocked off that time. Singapore battling for the board still.
And Delvin Go again, you know, he might only be 200 centimeters, but he plays bigger than that. He's impressive inside.
High off the glass. What a shot that was. And into double figures now. Wong Han-bin 4 of 9 from the field.
Yeah, it's hard to think he's not going to take some confidence from this second half, where perhaps he was second-guessing himself earlier in the game on what he could do.
Wang Chalin able to add to what is becoming more and more of an impressive tally for him. 12 points in around 11 minutes on court. They're not going to hit the 100-point mark, but they've got to 90. And they've had a 50-point advantage that's been cut now to 42, and almost no differential between shot and game clock here. And the fans will applaud the efforts of the hosts. China will just take their time on the ball. Will they take on another shot? They are going to move it to the corner. Chao Shi Wei for 3. And it's over the top. But what a performance on the opening day of the FIBA Asia Championships from the hosts. It's Singapore who feel the Chinese crunch in Changsha. A monster victory for China. They win it 91-42. And they have 5 players in double figures. So much to be pleased about for these fans here. China led by the 13 of Chai, and then 12 apiece for Yi, for Li Gen, and also for Wong, who got all of his scoring done late on. 10 for Ding, and they win it in the end by 49 points, 42 to 91 in favour of the hosts.
And it's hard not to be impressed. I mean, we all expected China to take care of business, but it was the way they went about it. They looked like a professional outfit. 46 rebounds to 24. You know, they were relentless on the offensive boards. 13 assists to 1, and I guess that 1 speaks to their defense. You know, their ability to help and rotate and cover. Particularly when the quicker players for Singapore often beat their first man, but the help and the rotation was high quality from China, and we can't take too much from this game, but they would go away happy that they've made a good start to the tournament, and they'll feel ready to take on the big challenge in Korea tomorrow night.
There's a look at some of those leading scorers. Doesn't quite show the full picture for China, who, as I said, have those 5 players in double figures. For Singapore, 15 points for Wong, who returned in the second half from an injury as well, positive for them. And 10 points for Ung Han Bin, as we see some of the highlights from such a wonderful start to the tournament for China. Really pulled away in that first quarter and into the second and never looked back. And from then on, it was just about trying to execute, getting everybody involved, and everybody who came onto the court tonight, bar the number 7 Chow Tai Long, was able to score.
Yeah, and you see the early highlights we saw there, really physical play, and that was a testament to the approach that Singapore brought to this game. I mean, they would have known it would have taken a miraculous effort to get the upset, but they didn't back down. They didn't approach it with anything but their best and their highest intensity. But in the end, you know, passes like this, the class of China was there to see, and they put on a show for a near-capacity crowd here in Changsha. And I think one thing I liked was, you know, they were red hot from the three-point line in that first half, and often teams settle. And so this was an outstanding move from Desmond O, the behind-the-back dribble and the tough right-hand finish. And this was also from Wong Wei Long, you know, the way he took the big man on, squeezed past him, and then the little up and under. And that was a demonstration of the pluck. But getting back to China, they didn't settle in the second half. They went inside. They weren't just going to ride the hot three-point shooting, and I think that's a good sign for them later in the tournament where they have that mix of inside and out.
Final score, Singapore 42, China 91.